Welcome, race fans, to NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying and yet another full day of NASCAR coverage on speed here at the concrete carnivore called the Monster Mile at Dover. Yesterday's rain is gone, and we're in for a full day of practice, qualifying, and racing among NASCAR's three top series on a beautiful day in Delaware. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Here at the speed stage, we are just getting our engines fired on a big day of racing here on the Monster Mile. Let's take a look at the menu, see what's coming up today on the TV, and it's a great menu, fit for a racing king, as we're going to start out in just a matter of moments with Nationwide Series qualifying. Sprint Cup practice follows that at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Final practice for the Sprint Cup Series is at 12:30 Eastern, and the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series AAA Insurance 200 that was delayed by rain last night will be run at 5:30 p.m. this evening. Now, qualifying from the Sprint Cup Series yesterday, and that was actually gotten in around the raindrops. The Biff, a two-time winner at this racetrack, qualified fifth, a little bit better than 155 miles per hour. By far the best start of the season for Reed Sorensen in the Richard Petty Motorsports number 43. He qualified fourth, and before that, his best qualifying start was a seventh earlier in the season. Juan Pablo Montoya in the number 42 will start third, and that also is one of the better starting positions that the number 42 has had for Earnhardt Ganassi Racing this year. And in the number 2 spot, it's Casey Kane in the number 9. 10 races here, but only one top 10, and he'll have a great view of the green flag when it waves. But how about one of the hottest drivers in NASCAR? Last weekend's winner, David Rudiman in the Michael Waltrip Racing 00. He is your pole sitter. It's his second pole this season and his third of his career. But how about Jeff Gordon and troubles on what's somewhat of a home track to his sponsor, DuPont? The 24 hits the outside retaining wall, goes to a backup, and Jeff Gordon will start in the 42nd position, but it'll be interesting to watch him come up through the pack. 48 of Jimmy Johnson outside of row number 4, and Brian Vickers, another great qualifying effort for him. Denny Hamlin outside of row number 8. Kurt Busch inside of row number 10, side by side with Marcus Ambrose. The 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. with new crew chief in tow. Outside of row number 11, Paul Menard in the Yates Ford. Row number 18, Mike Bliss, Joe Nemechek, Blaney, and Robbie Gordon, row number 20. And the last couple of drivers to get in this race, John Andretti, Jeff Gordon, and Tony Raines in row number 22. Now on the other side of this commercial break, we have Nationwide Series qualifying, just part of a huge day of racing here at the Dover Monster Mile. Kenna Wallace getting ready to qualify. We'll be back in just a moment.
Glad you're with us at the Dover International Speedway. The NASCAR Nationwide Series teams will qualify. 44 teams are here. Only 43 will start later this afternoon here on the Monster Mile. We had rain yesterday, but the weather couldn't be more beautiful here. 73 degrees. Nice gentle breeze out of the northwest. No clouds in the sky, and the weather looks fantastic all weekend. Steve Burns, Hermie Sadler, Jeff Hammond with you. And Michael Annett is the first driver out to qualify. It is Germain.com Toyota. Hermie, this is Annett's first Dover race here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. This is a challenging racetrack for a guy making his first start.
It really is, and a lot of obstacles to overcome this weekend, obviously. You know, only one practice session and coming right back right after that for a qualifying session, and drivers really got to get up on the wheel here to get a good lap.
145.920 miles per hour, 24.671 seconds, Jeff.
And Steve, we were talking about this before we came on the air about whether guys would run one lap or 2 laps, and you already saw Michael Annett. He only elected to run 1 lap here. I think you're going to see a lot of guys just lay down 1 lap, especially if you're already locked into the field. No sense challenging the monster too much.
You know, Jeff, we talked about the weather here, and we did have hard rain. It washed the Camping World Truck Series out. You'll see that later today here on Speed beginning at 5:30. But let's talk about how that rain will affect qualifying here today.
Well, the big thing is right off the get-go, if you look at this racetrack, it is basically bleached white again. It's washed all the rubber off, so the racetrack itself is basically green. It's going to probably not have the grip you're looking for, but for some reason, to me, a concrete racetrack goes through got a little bit of grip, then all of a sudden it gets kind of, rubbered up and it starts getting kind of rough. So I think these guys are going to have their hands full because they got their race set up underneath the car, anticipating a track condition that will occur, but it probably won't occur until about the midway point of the race. So it's going to be a real big challenge for these guys to try to stay up on the wheel, not make a mistake during qualify, and wind up wrecking here before the start of this race this afternoon.
And Hermie, as we watch Brendan Gaughan, the second driver out, you know, the history, the numbers show us if you're going to win here at Dover, you better start near the front. 25 of the 50 races have been won from a top 5 starting position.
And this is a place as a driver, Steve, you really have to attack it to go fast. You got to have a lot of confidence in your race cars. Brendan Gaughan slides way up the racetrack there, Jeff, but as a driver, to get that good qualifying spot, you got to stay in the throttle. And for you to be able to do that, your car's got to be in the racetrack and turning through the center. But one thing qualifying brings us sometimes, Steve, is, especially with race setups in these cars for an impound race, very loose race cars.
Loose in, but man, that was fun.
Yeah, I tell you right now, he might think it was fun, but from up here, it looked like he was getting ready to leave the ballpark, Steve.
Hey, also joining us in this broadcast from Dover, let's go to Dick Bergeron down on the pit road.
And I'm with David Reagan, who was very good in practice yesterday, 5th quick, but we've had all the rain. It's changed the racetrack. Now what do you do?
Just go out and trust these discount tire guys. They said it's going to stick and it's going to drive good. So I'll go out and give it a shot. But just, you know, proud of our discount tire team. This has been a tough track for us in the past at times. And they brought a real good Ford Fusion for me this weekend. And look forward to getting a good run. This is an awesome racetrack.
And when the track changes, it's a test of how brave the driver can be.
You know, that's a good way to put it. Yes,
I like what the crew chief says. Come Saturday morning, no rubber on the racetrack. First thing crew chief says, drive it in there. It's going to stick. Don't worry about it.
You know what?
And you say
like,
what?
if you want to ride with me, come on.
Hey, I got
Get
news
in.
for you. You never would heard that from me because I'd be the guy that had to fix it if all of a sudden you decided, well, you told me so.
Well, a good sign is, though, Brendan Gaughan picked up about 3/10 from what he practiced yesterday, so there is a little bit of grip in this racetrack this morning.
But can you imagine how fast he would have been, Hermie, if he hadn't ran up the racetrack where he was at? I mean, he gave up probably 2 or 3 tenths just down in turn 3 and 4 alone.
Scott Lagasse, second quick of 3 drivers. His best time, 24.033. Let's take a look at our AMP track description, the Dover International Speedway. We also call it affectionately the Monster Mile. 24 degrees of banking, Hermie, in the corners, but what's really noteworthy, 9 degrees of banking in the straightaway.
Well, another thing that's noteworthy is these corners are real long sweeping corners. You're in the corner a lot here. Tough on the driver and the equipment. So if your car's not handling good through the corner, you lose a lot of speed on these straightaways. So got to have a good handling race car to run good here at Dover.
Speaking of good handling race cars, we're sitting here and watching Mr. Conway, Kevin Conway in the 87 car, normally driven by Joe Nemechek, owned by Andrea Nemechek, his wife. He crashed yesterday in practice, so this is a backup car. So I heard him coming up off of turn 4, and he was really pedaling real easy. First laps on the racetrack, I think, for this race car. So I'm sure Kevin is just trying to make sure nothing's bottling out. His time reflects that, 24.84 again. I'd rather be smart right now than go out there and probably hang this thing in the fence before the start of this race.
That's all he needs to do. He's locked in the show. Just get a good, decent lap in, run 200 laps.
Also joining us in this broadcast, let's go to Chris Devoda.
Thanks, Steve. You heard Brendan Gaughan say, woo, that was fun. So fun like a roller coaster where you're kind of scared, or fun like a haunted house where you think, what am I doing?
A little bit of both. You know, no rubber on the racetrack. Don't know if that's going to keep us top 5, top 10, what. I mean, you know, still all the fast guys left to go, but it was fun. I mean, USFL Chevy worked good. Just second lap, not a good idea. Probably shouldn't have done that.
Thanks, Brendan. Let's go to Dick Bergeron.
With Kyle Busch, who last fall won the pole and led 157 laps of that scheduled 200 lapper. It went to 207. Fast in practice. You got the car that's going to win the pole here?
Man, we might have looked good in practice, but we certainly didn't feel good. So, you know, we'll see what today brings for us. You know, the Food Lion Toyota here seems to be okay, but we worked awfully hard trying to find some more grip in it. So we'll see what we get right now, and hopefully it'll be a good race car.
Okay, good luck out there. Thank you.
Well, Dick, Stephen Wallace on the racetrack. He has 6 starts here on the Monster Mile. Best start of 9th, best finish of 11th.
You know, a lot of Brendan Gaughan's talking about second lap, maybe not a good idea. First lap should be the better lap, Jeff, but a big challenge. We talk about it a lot. Coming through 3 and 4 to get that green flag on a green racetrack, and a little bit of uncertainty from the driver. going to play a key role in that.
Yeah, it is, and what's really ironic is Stephen Wallace is Brendan Gaughan's teammate. He winds up being second quick, but look at the times, guys. I mean, both laps, 23:66. The difference was the thousandths of a second, just a little bit quicker on that first lap, but his race car didn't look too bad, but you bring up a very good point. Can you come through 3 and 4 with that speed that you really want to? Again, we're talking about this racetrack, and we expect throughout basically this entire qualifying session, maybe late in that morning's run, we may find some guys at the racetrack starting to come around a little bit, but it's going to be loose for the most part all day long as far as I'm concerned here. But key thing right now is whether or not they're able to run 2 laps. I don't think you need to. I think right now we've been proved you're not going to pick up on that second lap.
Brad Keselowski of the GoDaddy.com Chevrolet. He'll be followed by Tony Raines, Carl Edwards, and Kenny Wallace.
And if you wonder why the cars would be loose, you got a couple things working for us. Number one, this racetrack with no rubber on it is a loose racetrack to start off with. And then when you're qualifying with race setups, you got to be on the free side as well. So a couple factors there.
Hermie, this track looks symmetrical standing here atop this racetrack. Is there an end or a corner where you can be more aggressive, you can attack that racetrack?
It really is, as far as ovals are concerned, one of the more symmetrical racetracks we go to. You fall off into both corners, the car lands on both sides, and you actually drive out of a hole off 2 and turn forward. To me, if there's a place you get looser, it's a little bit more off a turn forward. He picks up a little bit on lap 2.
Surprise, surprise. I mean, again, here goes Brad Keselowski, who kind of like goes against what we were thought was going to happen here. He picks up on the second lap, and he picks up almost 0.2 of a second.
You'll do that sometimes. If you're too loose on lap 1, you can pick up on lap 2.
Let's go to Krista.
All right, Steve, we talked to Brendan Gaughan, so let's get a word from his teammate, Stephen Wallace. How loose was your race car or the track? Pretty slippery out there right now without any rubber?
A lot of 5-hour energy Chevy. We didn't get to make a qualifying run there yesterday, so we really didn't know what we had. So I kind of tippy-toed the first lap, and my car was a little bit free. We need a little bit more air adjustments, I think. Need to tighten the car up a little bit, but it wasn't bad. We didn't know what we had, so we kind of took it easy. But I feel like our 5-hour energy Chevy's gonna be good for the race, so we'll hope for that, right?
All right, thanks, Stephen.
All right, thank you, Kristen. And we just heard Stephen echo what you said, Hermie. Very conservative on the first lap, tiptoed.
And the driver can make a lot of difference. If you out of the throttle just a little bit more, Jeff, it can make 2 or 3 tenths of a second just by not getting all the way back to the gas quick enough or coming out of it. But better safe than sorry at a racetrack where you got to qualify and turn right back around and race here in a couple hours.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing about it. All these guys know that they're locked in, but they also know what we talked about early on. You want to start up front. You know that if you can keep your car up front, you've got a better opportunity to win this race. And one thing we haven't really brought into conversation yet is the fact that we have a new pit road here, Steve. We've got 43 pit stalls. It's wider than it's ever been before. You don't have to worry about hanging yourselves into that the inside of the pit wall like it used to be. It used to be real treacherous. So I think, again, if you qualify up front, it's better for you, but now you won't get hung back in traffic like you used to.
Tony Raines, 5th overall of 7 drivers. Back to Dick.
With Mark Davis, who has run the Camping World East Series here at Dover, but never the Nationwide Series. And we have a green track. So how do you do this? How brave are you going to be in your qualifying run?
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. Our car is really good during racing yesterday, and qualifying trim probably could have been a little bit better. But WHR Work Toyota is definitely it's picked up. We're gonna be good. So see, this car's popped out a lot. So I guess we go out and do the same thing.
Okay, be fast, be careful. Thank you.
All right, Dick, Carl Edwards was second quick in practice yesterday, and he really liked his race car.
I'm getting ready to say, we're getting ready to see exactly what this racetrack's all about right here with Carl Edwards. All the way to the top of the list, Steve.
23:43, 153.610 miles an hour is quickest.
But he only beats Brendan Gaughan by 1/100th of a second, Steve. So very good lap there by Brendan Gaughan. It gives you a pretty good perspective of how fast that 62 is. But right now, he's trying to pick it up. He's going to play for 2 also.
Edwards has 8 Dover starts.
And he slows down just a little bit.
Let's go back to Krista.
We're down here talking hockey. Of course, Brad Keselowski's a Red Wings fan, me living in Pittsburgh. This conversation's pretty good, but let's talk racing right now. You also said your car was very good. How good on that qualifying lap?
That's the best qualifying car I think I've ever had, so I'm really excited about this GoDaddy.com Chevrolet. Had a struggle yesterday getting the Cup car in, but I think we're going to make up for that today with this 88 Nationwide car, and got to thank everybody at Junior Motorsports for an awesome car. It's just really smooth and really in the racetrack, and that's what you need to be fast here at Dover.
All right, and now we're going to go back to talking hockey. We'll throw it back to Steve, though.
Yeah, hate to interrupt the hockey talk. Thank you, Krista. The shy one, Kenny Wallace on the racetrack. 25 starts here in the Nationwide Series at Dover.
Leaving the hotel this morning, got in the elevator to come down. Who was in the elevator but Kenny Wallace, and I assure you, he was in rare form at about 8 o'clock this morning.
And I assure you, you heard him before you saw him.
I could hear it before I saw it, no question about it.
So Carl Edwards now with the time and speed to beat. As Jeff pointed out, he just does nose Brendan Gaughan out. Edwards with 4 pole positions this 2009 season.
A little bit of a pickup right there for Kenny Wallace on his first lap. He's going to go again. He's going to try to see if he can pick up a little bit on his second. And he does pick it up just a little bit.
So Kenny 5th overall of 9 drivers to qualify here. Again, we have 44 teams for 43 spots, and they race later today. David Reagan out of the Roush Fenway stable. He has 5 Dover starts. Best finish of 9th.
Excuse me, Steve, I was going to say, Hermie, we talk about this a lot. You get out of bed, you put your fire suit on, you come to a place like Dover, and the first thing you got to do is go out and lay down a qualifying lap. I mean, you got to crank that engine up and just basically catch all 4 gears, and when you hit turn 3 and 4, it's like you got to be ready for whatever comes at you. I mean, that's kind of like throwing cold water on.
Well, qualifying here it's a mentality you got to have. When you even start going through the gears coming off pit road, you've got to have the mentality that you're going for a pole position run or you're not, and you can tell by who's going for it and the guys are trying to be safe. Great lap for David Reagan. He beats Carl Edwards, Jeff.
Yes, he does.
23.301, 154.500. So, Jeff, another situation where pole sitter gets bumped by a 10th.
By a 10th. I mean, it's unreal how close this field's probably going to wind up being. We saw yesterday in the Sprint Cup field, there was only 7/10 of a second between the entire 43 cars. I think we'll see some of the same situations happen here today in the Nationwide qualifying. And he slows down just a little bit on the second lap, but a great lap right there for young David Reagan, winner at Talladega.
So Carl Edwards gets bumped for the pole. Stay with us here in Dover. Speed's presentation of NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying from Dover is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance, the official auto insurance provider of NASCAR. And by the new Kentucky Grilled Chicken. Taste the unfried side of KFC. And back at Dover, David Reagan is the man to beat. He bumps his teammate Carl Edwards as Brandon Witt is on the racetrack in that number 61 Ford.
Yesterday in practice, Brandon's car was a little bit on the loose side. He was trying to get Doug Taylor and everybody on at 61 to try to get it a little more comfortable. And he was having trouble down in turn 3 and 4 more than 1 and 2. And last night, you know, Steve talking to Mark Martin on trackside, he talked about some bumps getting down into turn 3 that weren't, I guess you might say they're worse than what they were a year ago when they came here. So he said it was upsetting his race car. So maybe that's some of what Brandon Witt was feeling.
Didn't he use the word bouncing down the straightaway?
Bouncing, exactly right.
That was a big pickup, guys. He ran 24.42 yesterday and actually picked it up to a 23.98 on lap 2.
I was just trying to fill it out.
He is 7th overall. Krista?
We've got kind of a little meeting going on. Paul Menard talking with David Reagan, our current pole sitter. He knocked Carl Edwards off. He's a teammate, so it's okay, but I know you had a pretty good race car out there, too.
Yeah, this Ortho Fusion was pretty good, but I was just talking to David about his lap. It was obviously much better. But I think we've got a really good race car. We've been sitting on the pole a lot and then not running so well in the race. So, you know, maybe we'll qualify top 4 or 5 and then have a great race today. And just proud of David for his lap. He said his felt loose and he still went that fast. So he sucked it up today. Hopefully it stays up there on the pole with the Ford.
You know, I just realized I should have let you do this interview because you're one of our speed pit reporters. What should I ask David?
Let's talk to him about exactly how he drove there. Let's just keep it between us.
So none of the people watching out there, just go ahead and put your fingers in your ears right now. Thanks. Carl's so good on concrete. David Reagan, a very good qualifying lap. Do you have a race-winning car?
I think so. You know, Dover was a track our first couple of years here that we just kind of struggled, and we were like, you know, 10th place was as good as we could get, but I'm real proud of our discount tire guys. Mike Kelly brought an excellent car. And, you know, that was a fair lap. I didn't think it was that great. It didn't feel that great, but this is a very fun racetrack. It's very exciting for all the race fans, so looking forward to a good day today.
All right, Steve, Roush Fenway, always good here at Dover.
Yes, indeed, Krista. Jason Leffler, 6th overall. Leffler's best finish here, 3rd. And Leffler will make career start number 200 later today. Kyle Busch takes to the racetrack in his Food Lion Toyota.
He ran a 23.50 yesterday in practice, Steve, so they'll have to pick up about 2/10. And a little bit loose right there,
Did
Jeff.
you hear the tires squalling?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, man.
He said in the interview, he said we had a pretty fast car, but not a good driving race car yesterday, and he still got his hands full.
He is trying all he can, but that car is just not going to cooperate on sound like. He currently is 2nd quickest, so he gets in between teammates as far as Reagan and Edwards are concerned. It didn't sound as bad down through 1 and 2 that time. I didn't hear the tires hollering. A little bit still in 3 and 4 though.
Yep.
Gonna be close.
Gonna be close.
Jason Ratcliffe echoing Hermie Sadler.
It's going to be very, very close. 1/100th of a second, Kyle Busch picks up, Steve, but he doesn't knock David Reagan off the pole.
Coming up, Brian Keselowski, Brian Vickers, and Justin Allgaier. Stay with us. Nature didn't cooperate yesterday, but the Camping World Truck Series will race tonight. Chris Devoda gets you set up at 5:30 p.m. and immediately following will be the start of the AAA Insurance 200, the Camping World Truck Series, only on Speed. Brian Keselowski, Brad's older brother, with a Detroit Red Wings Dodge.
Ran it last week at Lowe's Motor Speedway. It paid off pretty good for the Red Wings. They're still in the hunt for the Stanley Cup. See if they can bring them a little bit of luck here. The Hurricanes didn't do too well, did they, Herman?
They're out.
Yeah, no, they took it on the chin. Had a good season, though. Yep, good second half.
Brian Keselowski, 25th in driver points overall.
Picks up on that second lap.
Looking for his first top 10 finish of 2009. Dick?
Well, although Clint Boyer has yet to turn a lap on the racetrack today, it is a milestone day. And I don't know how to break this to you folks, the fans of Clint Boyer, but he's turned 30. How different is life at 30 than it was yesterday at 29?
Man, I don't know. What age do you start having to act older? You know, that's what I'm struggling with right now. But you know, 30 years old is hard to believe that. It just seems like yesterday I was turning 21. But you know, it's been a lot of fun. Just, you know, here in the last few years, it's been a whirlwind. You know, being able to race for Richard Childress and all the good things that you know has happened to myself and our family. It's been a good life so far. So you know, happy to be driving a Holiday Inn Chevrolet. I think the car's you know, pretty decent today. Looking forward to the race. I don't know what qualifying is going to bring, but just looking forward to racing on my birthday.
All right, good luck with it. Thank you, and happy birthday.
Dick Brian Vickers got a win here at Dover in September of 2003. He's 3rd overall in his first lap, 23.409, 153.787 miles per hour.
Watch him going in turn 3 last lap, Jeff. He really got big seat bottoming out, sliding up the racetrack.
And Hermie, you talked about that in our open. That, you know, you got to be kind of like thinking and worrying about what this racetrack's going to do to you, especially if you try to run a little quicker. I think they have found they have exceeded what they've done yesterday in practice, and the car is now bottoming out again.
Still a pretty good lap, but that's what happens when you try to drive that little bit harder off in these corners. There's such a elevation change. If you not have the clearance exactly right, you will get into the racetrack and it'll upset the car.
Well, one thing that will help a lot of these teams is when you untape them for the race, you won't get quite as much downforce on the front of the car, so hopefully that'll cure some of that problem when they untape them.
Justin Allgaier, you see he is 10th in the NASCAR Nationwide Series point standings. This is also his first Nationwide Series start on the Monster Mile.
It'll be interesting to see what he does qualifying, because yesterday He ran a lot of laps, Steve. Never was a really fast lap, but you know, kind of hung back here like 23rd. But see what he can get done here on the first lap. I believe him having an opportunity to think about it over the night, he may lay down a pretty impressive lap here.
Hermie, I read some comments from Justin Allgaier last week, and he said that he's had to work on being a little more conservative, pulling the reins back, being not as aggressive.
Yeah, well, he understands that he needs to finish these races, and he's gotten himself in trouble qualifying a couple times. Maybe he's trying to step it up too much. Car gets away from him, but you always rather have a guy that you got to pull the reins back than a guy that you've got to kick him in the rear end to get him going. So this guy's got a lot of potential.
Hammond used to like to say it's easier to pull a rope than it is to push it.
Exactly right, and he picks up on his second lap and proves about almost 0.3 of a second of what he practiced at yesterday. So he must have learned a little bit.
Well, coming up, Bobby Hamilton Jr., Danny O'Quinn, and Mark Davis. NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying continues from the Dover International Speedway in Dover, Delaware, the capital of the state of Delaware. The city Dover was founded in 1683, Hermie Sadler. A little history lesson.
That is quite a piece of information I didn't know. You know, I wasn't around then.
32,000 people live in Dover, but tomorrow, Jeff, that number will swell by 100,000.
It's always impressive when you see the crowd turn out here in Dover. I mean, always got a very, very impressive crowd. But, you know, you go back to you not being around here, I got news for you. Our Dick Berggren probably was.
You said it.
I didn't.
Like Bobby Hamilton Jr. is going to do one and done right there. He's going to be 11th quickest in this 81 car. Talked to Bobby just a little bit at Lowe's last week, and he really wanted to get back to driving and getting into something competitive, and it's good to see him here at the racetrack. But he said, man, things are tough out there.
Bobby's 11th overall. We'll get caught up on all the news surrounding Sunday's Cup race with NASCAR Race Day. We'll have the latest on team changes for Dale Jr.'s 88 car. Talk to Robin Pemberton following the NASCAR Town Hall meeting earlier this week. And Wendy's Real Deal is with Coke 600 winner David Rudiman. It all starts at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
With Kevin Harvick, who is not only fastest in practice, he already has a pole here at Dover. How about today? Can you manage to put this thing up front?
Well, I think so. Our Copart Chevrolet's been really good. The car's really, really good in race trim. It was decent on our qualifying run there yesterday, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what the track gives us and go for it and see where we wind up.
This guy is one of the best on concrete, Krista.
Thanks, Dick. So is Brian Vickers. This is one of the places where he scored a win in your nationwide championship season. So are you going to do it today?
I hope so. I've always really liked this place. It's a lot of fun. It's fast, but you can still race. You know, especially once the track starts to rubber back in. I think you'll start to see the groove widen out. You'll see 1, 2, maybe 3 grooves. Hopefully we can take the Dollar General Toyota to the front and keep it there.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Steve?
Thank you, Krista. Danny O'Quinn Jr., the 01 car. Johnny Davis Racing. Ricky Vyers is the crew chief on this team.
Tell you what, Steve, he had his hands full on lap 1. He had a pretty good lap going. Went down in turn 3 and car got loose and he chased it way up the racetrack. Good job to save that car. But a little bit on the free side as far as trying to go fast.
15th overall for Danny O'Quinn. 19-year-old Mark Davis is going to participate in 6 races for Braun Racing.
Easy, Mark, easy. Like he got in a little bit hard right there, and it just about got away from him.
Mark's from Silver Spring, Maryland, not too far from here. Near the University of Maryland, I might add, Hermie Sadler.
Where is that?
Jeff Hammond.
What conference?
College Park, Atlantic Coast, my friend.
Do they have a basketball team?
Now see,
yeah.
Now see, Hermie.
I know they beat Carolina once this year. I remember.
Good job by Mark Davis, 9th overall.
Tell you what, he looked like he had his hands full, but he stayed in the game.
He is wrestling this son of a gun.
Great lap. 23.69. Take care of it right here.
That's right. Take care of it. That car is ugly, and he's still up on the wheel getting after it.
This is a great opportunity for Mark Davis.
His crew chief in a nice way saying, bag it down and bring it in. Stop.
Stop.
Yeah. Right now.
Take care of it. Stop.
That thing's getting good feeling to him, though. Good laps by Mark Davis.
But Hermie, how about for a young driver? This is a good opportunity he's getting with Braun Racing. He's been trying to campaign his own car. Good break for him.
It really is, and it could be a good thing, for these guys too at Braun. I mean, you get a good young kid with a lot of potential and seems to speak well, and hopefully they can get together here and make some good things happen.
Well, I tell you right now what he did well. He did a good job of hanging on to that number 10 because it definitely was not under him the way you'd like to have a race car. If I'd have been the crew chief on that car when he passed the start-finish line after first lap, I'd have said stop.
He said take care of it.
No, no. I wouldn't have given an opportunity for him to make a decision.
What
stop.
What they got to do eventually is put one of these remote control things, you know, so the crew chief can just shut it off, like the go-kart track at the amusement park.
Yeah.
Well, last week's winner, Mike Bliss, in that number 1 Miccosukee Chevrolet. You hear those tires squealing there, too.
Just squealing. You call it squealing, I call it squalling.
Same thing.
Same thing. Screaming, crying,
yelping.
Mike took advantage of the weather at Lowe's Motor Speedway to get a win last week as well. His car looks good, Jeff. He's a little on the free side too, though. You can see him walking up the racetrack right there.
Whoa, back end's swinging around on him.
Yeah, Mike, I agree with you.
Yeah.
We can see that.
Like when a driver, like, you know, we got to say TV doesn't do it justice. I mean, he's not a little loose. He's sideways. From inside the car, you feel like you're wrecking. He comes on the radio, a little loose.
That's why you guys get paid the big bucks.
Is that right?
Well, it's easier for me to sit up here and talk about it. And also, it used to scare me, the bejesus out of me watching somebody go out there and run my race car like that sideways. Like, oh, no, I got to fix this thing. You ever want to know what a motivation is for a crew chief to work on his race car? Stand on top of the truck and watch the driver go off in the corner, cock it sideways. Bring that thing back here. I think we need to work on it a little bit.
Joey Logano in the 20 car.
He had a good run off turn 4 to get the green flag. If he can keep it going, he's
flying down the back straightaway.
Made his Nationwide Series debut here 1 year ago, did he not? Finally got the age limit behind him. He was 18 years old.
He is smoking the field, Burn.
Man. Yes, he is. He is. Wow. Our tracker is dead on that number 1. Yes, sir. He has got it. 23.08.
You don't hear no tires crying.
Nope.
Dead in the gas, right around the bottom of the racetrack. He is making it happen. He and David Rogers got this car hooked up.
Good job, man.
His second lap would have been good enough for the pole.
So Joey Logano bumps David Reagan from the pole position. Stay with us here at Dover. Joey Logano, the man to beat right now. He has bumped David Reagan from the pole position as we watch Michael McDowell in the number 47 JTG Doherty machine, also making his first overstart. McDowell, the 22nd driver of 44 to qualify.
Michael makes a pretty nice little pickup right there on his first lap. Car looks good.
Hustling the car pretty good. Just everybody that's really going after these laps is a little on the free side because of the racetrack and the impound procedure. Guys having to be on the loose side to start this race, but Michael's doing a good job.
14th overall. Let's go to Dick Berggren, who's with Ryan Newman.
And as good as Ryan is in Sprint Cup competition, he may even be better in nationwide cars. 12 poles and only 42 attempts. What do you got for us this morning?
I'm not sure. We didn't do a qualifying run yesterday. We focused more on race trim with the Fastenal Chevrolet, and we'll see. I think we can put in a decent lap, but I don't know what. Based on what we should be able to pick up in qualifying trim, we should be a good car. I just don't know how good.
All right. He wanted to race this thing so much, Ryan hasn't even gone fishing yet this weekend.
That's dedication. So, Hermie, Ryan just brings up a good point. I don't guess these guys really know what they're facing.
No, they really don't. I mean, because of the amount of tires that each team gets to practice on, and you want to keep, you know, enough allotment of tires for the race. A lot of teams just really run one set of tires. We had one 90-minute practice session, so they stayed on the same set of tires, getting ready for the 200-lap race today, and never took the chance to put stickers on and tape it up and see how fast they could go.
Whoa, Greg. Whoa, Greg.
Here
that's squalling.
I'm with you on that one. That was squalling. Biffle, a two-time winner here at Dover.
But which one was it? Was it the tires or the driver we heard?
Both. Krista.
Steve, down here with Joey Logano, the first thing he said to me as he got out of the car is, I was breathing hard. So walk us through that lap. How hard?
Breathing hard enough that I was hanging on pretty much. But I tell you what, I got a good GameStop Toyota. We practiced good. I didn't think we were going to have a good qualifying car, but apparently it was pretty good. So we'll see. I'm excited to race here. You know, it's our 1-year anniversary, so it's my first nationwide start. So so far, so good. I think I got a really good car, so I'm looking forward to it.
That's right. Last week we wished you happy birthday. This week, happy anniversary. Steve?
All right, thank you, Krista.
Steve, right quick, I know we're watching the 29 car Clint Boyer, who's very good on concrete in his own right, but to me, 29 races in, can you believe it? Joey Logano's got a better average than Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, and Kevin Harvick when it comes to the first 29 starts they had. Pretty impressive young man, and I mean, he's really getting it done.
That was an understatement.
I'm going to say he's not on dirt.
No.
Can't find a cushion here. Look at that right rear, what's making all that noise. What do you think?
Hey, what is pretty cool, actually.
It is.
To hear it, but it's really cool because we're not driving it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, every time he turns that wheel,
Way too loose.
We heard. Normally we see it, but here we can hear it.
That's right. I love the sound effects.
Yep.
Not to mention the play-by-play by the driver. Way too loose.
Clinton Boyer, 10th overall. Let's go back to Dick Berggren.
With Paul Menard, who has been incredibly impressive this year in nationwide competition, what is it about these cars that seems to suit you so well?
They're just a lot of fun to drive. They got a lot of grip. You know, it's the old style car, so you got all the travel, all the front end downforce, and just wish they had a little bit more power where you could you know, use the throttle a little bit more. But it's a lot of fun, and it's a great series.
Do you guys ever meet a driver that said he didn't have enough power or had too much power? This guy wants more.
More is better. Mike Harmon in the 07. Herbie, we've seen him drive his own race car, the 84, but not this week.
The Harmonator has moved over to
Harmonator.
Take the seat here in the 07. Armando Fitz, and good to see him. He's locked in the show today, Jeff.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he's had a rough year as far as making a lot of the races, but I think it's good to see him know he's going to be locked in, have an opportunity to see the green flag drop here today. I'm sure he's just thinking, I just want to get a nice smooth lap. Wherever I start, well, at least I'll start.
Mike has 2 starts into this 2009 season. And he is the slowest of 25 drivers to qualify here on the Monster Mile. But as Hermie said and Jeff said, safely in for Mike Harmon. He'll make his 3rd start later this afternoon. Coming up, we'll see Jason Keller, Scott Speed, and Ken Butler III.
Steve, I think I actually see a little tear of joy coming out of Hermie's eye.
It's emotional.
I know it.
Big day for the Harmonator. Y'all come on now.
Jason Keller has a pole and a win here. 28 starts, more than any of the drivers at Dover in today's field.
He's got a win here, and I tell you why Jason's good here. I race with him here a lot. He knows how to bag the corner up. He floats it down in the corner. Really is good here. Always has been from the center of the corner off. Really knows how to work on his car to get good forward bite off of these corners.
Good lap by Jason Keller, 9th overall, 23.512 seconds.
That's about 2.5 tenths faster than he'd practiced that yesterday. Car looks good. I mean, just out of everybody's been out recently, it doesn't look like it's out of control.
Yeah, he really floats it down in the corner, gets it to turn,
Very
and
smooth.
really gets in the gas hard from the center off.
Yesterday in practice, Hermie mentioned we had a 90-minute session. Trouble for Jeffrey Earnhardt, the grandson of Dale Earnhardt Sr. Hard into the wall. Dick Berggren is with him right now.
Well, they've unloaded the backup car, but Jeffrey has not been able to take even a single lap of practice in this backup car. And you have a green racetrack, so how do you run your qualifying laps?
You know, we're just going to take it easy the first lap, you know, fill the car out. Like you said, we didn't get no time in it, so, but I have a lot of confidence in these guys. You know, they wouldn't throw me out there with with a bad car, so you know, I'm pretty comfortable with it. We're going to go out there, see what it's got, and do the best we can. You know, I think we got to at least beat one car to make it in. So that's what we're shooting for, and I think we can do it. Cars, you know, even if it's not handling that good, we got 200 laps, you know, this afternoon to work on it, and we'll get the car dialed in and go out there and run a good race. So I'm pretty confident we'll make it in here and get some laps and learn all I can.
Good strategy. We wish you well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Scott Speed in the 99 car. That's out of Michael Waltrip Racing with crew chief Jerry Baxter.
The good thing for Jeffrey Earnhardt is he goes out last, so he'll know what he needs to do. But looking at that list of go homers for knockout qualifying, not really any slouches in there. He's going to have to go.
No, like you said, names like Ryan Newman, Scott Wimmer, Paul Menard.
Look at Scott Speed, 4th quickest.
Good job by Scott Speed. Stay with us here in Dover. Joey Logano is still the man to beat here at Dover in NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying. Ken Butler III aboard that number 23 Aaron's Dream Machine. He and his wife Jamie welcomed their first child into the world last Saturday, a daughter. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, it's been a big week for the Butler family. You know, get the big win right there with David Rudiman at Lowe's last week. They got a new granddaughter, and Kim Butler's up here, the 3rd racing at Dover. So
Rudiman, good run yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been an awesome week for all the folks associated with Aaron's and the Butler family.
You like it for them too, man, because they have been so supportive of this sport.
Yes, they have.
Not just cars, but you know, to sponsor us here on TV and young drivers, trucks, nationwide cars.
Did you drive an Aaron's car at Talladega?
I did.
So.
I drove about 10 Aaron's races, you know, with Michael when Aaron's came in, and great people to work with, really first class.
Good pickup right there by Ken Butler too. Also, he picked up about 3/10 about what he qualified or practiced at yesterday.
Krista.
Steve, down here with Scott Speed, who is currently 4th quickest. And Dover, a special place for you. You were in Victory Lane when we were here last year in the Truck Series. What do you remember about that, and where is that monster trophy? Where do you have it?
I got it at the house, actually. Funny enough, it's one of the only trophies I have because all the stuff I had in Europe from all my open wheel stuff I left over there. So, yeah, it's an important one for me for sure, having the first one.
And how's this car?
This thing was awesome. I mean, I'm actually kind of kicking myself right now because I really didn't think we were going to be that competitive. And, you know, I was having to go to the back of the grid. I didn't really super push. And I think if we would have, we definitely would have had a shot at the pole. So, I mean, hats off to these guys. The Michael Waltrip guys have done a great job with this. And I look forward to coming back here every time.
Thanks, Scott. Steve, I was just thinking how I get myself to Europe to get some of those trophies.
Yeah, we need to work on a plan for you, Krista. But don't go anywhere. You got to do the Camping World Truck Series race later today.
Kevin Harvick used up a lot of racetrack right there on the exit of turn 2.
Just a reminder, he was fastest in practice yesterday.
He is giving it all he can give, but he just can't quite get it to go through the center of the corner like he needs for it to.
Same story, a little bit further.
Yeah. In the corner.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll see Eric McClure, Kevin LePage, and Mark Green. Joey Logano, the man to beat here in Dover. Watch the best of NASCAR on Speed shows online on demand. Go to speedtv.com or NASCAR.com each weekend for interviews, highlights, race recaps from your favorite speed programs like Trackside, Race Day, Victory Lane, and more. Go to speedtv.com or NASCAR.com today. It's Eric McClure, the 24 car.
Yeah, he's the last of the guys that are locked into today's field. Top 30 in owner points are obviously got a guaranteed starting position, and we'll start that dreaded knockout qualifying. But for Eric McClure, nice lap right there, 18th quickest, good pickup from what he practiced at yesterday. I picked up over a half a second. I mean, that's pretty good.
He's been qualifying this car a lot better in the last month or so, Jeff. So these guys really working hard, updating their equipment a little bit. And Eric is getting more seat time and getting more confidence.
Look at his second lap.
Picks up. He'll make his 85th Nationwide Series start this afternoon. 14th overall.
Holy cow, thanks.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. That's a good effort right there by Eric McClure. Good lap.
So knockout qualifying begins here at Dover. We'll see Kevin LePage, Mark Green, Johnny Chapman, and Morgan Shepherd.
Did you hear that, Hermie? I think I heard a whole lot of drivers down on pit road take a deep breath, and I don't think they're going to release it till they get through during this qualifying session here. Because only one guy, just one driver, one team, one car will not make this race.
Yeah, when you got, 10, 12 cars going home, as bad as that is, at least you're in a group of 10 or 12 cars and probably some really good cars. But when there's one guy going home, you don't want to be that guy.
Oh, man, Kevin LePage bottoming out a lot getting down in turn 3.
Driving for Jimmy Smut-Means. LePage, a veteran driver. He has 20 Dover starts.
Picked up about 3/10 from yesterday.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And it looks like he's maybe gaining a little more down the back straightaway, Steve.
Yeah, he's actually got 2 pole positions here, Jeff.
Just get off of turn 4 here and get back to start-finish line. It's going to be close. He may pick up a little bit. Let's see. He does. Picks up a position up to 24th and right at a 1/10 of a second right there. That could be huge as far as him making his field. But I believe if you can run somewhere around 24 flat like he did, you should be safely in the field.
Jeff, last night on trackside, you talked about how close the field is for the Sprint Cup Series. Well, right now we have 22 drivers who have run a 23-second lap.
Like I say, competition gets better each and every week. These guys continue to work. The further we get in the season, it seems like they get better and better and better.
And the bad thing for the guys that have yet to run, this last group of cars, Kevin LePage was the slowest car yesterday of the go-go homer, so he picked it up a lot, which means these other guys are going to have to step it up.
Yeah, about time you think you got it figured out where I could beat that guy. Did it all day yesterday, and all of a sudden they surprise you. And a veteran like Kevin LePage, he knows whenever basically you got to put it up. He knows how to do it.
This is going to be a pretty good lap for Mark Green.
Yes, it is. Mark's been qualifying really fast here lately. He's been doing a great job.
Nice job.
You're in.
That's it. That's all he needs to hear.
Let me get into the brake pedal real quick here.
So coming up, we'll see Johnny Chapman, Morgan Shepherd, Peyton Sellers, Ryan Newman, and Scott Wimmer. That's the guy to beat Joey Logano. Stay with us here on Speed. On the next all-new episode of Wrecked, a container truck tips over on a Chicago highway and the recovery proves to be more complicated than expected. It's an all-new Wrecked, Thursday at 10 Eastern. I heard Mike Joyce say yesterday that Wrecked is oddly addictive.
Yeah.
That means he likes it.
Yeah.
Means he watches it.
Like you said, when you get into watching, all of a sudden you start understanding about angles and geometry, and it's just not a matter of hooking a chain to something and jerking it out of the ditch.
Nice job by Johnny Chapman. He is locked in 20th overall in his MSRP Chevrolet.
And Hermie, you said it just a little while ago. This group of guys that are in this knockout qualifying group, they're no slouches. I mean, they're definitely picking it up. I mean, if you want to get in, you're going to have to get a good lap in. We've already talked about Kevin LePage looking like he picked up enough to be safe, but he may not be. I mean, it's just everybody's running fast.
Saw Prelude to the Dream on the side of Morgan Shepherd's race car. That's Wednesday, June 3rd. Pay-per-view. For more information, log on to TonyStewartFoundation.org.
Just remember, it's in support of our injured and our fallen troops.
Yep.
So go and log on and get a pay-per-view and
have
watch
fun
it.
And contribute at the same time.
Exactly. You cannot ask for a better cause, and I'm telling you, you're going to have a great opportunity to see a lot of guys have fun driving dirt cars.
And oh, by the way, being competitive.
Very competitive. Very competitive. Very competitive. They take this stuff serious.
Morgan Shepherd won from the pole here back in 1986 in the Nationwide Series.
Yep, Morgan's one of the 9 former winners here trying to get in today's field. He is just inside right now. Looks like he's just a little bit ahead of Kevin LePage as he goes into turn 3. He gives it back up. He's about to pick it up just a little bit.
Car drifted up just a little bit down there. Wow.
He beats Kevin LePage by 1/100th of a second.
But he's in.
He is locked in. Mark Green, Johnny Chapman, and Morgan Shepherd are locked in. And as Hermie said, just one driver will not make the show, but it's going to be some pretty heavy competition in the meantime.
And Morgan picked it up on the second lap, and that could be the difference between racing today and not making this show. Good job, Morgan.
Peyton Sellers out of Danville, Virginia. He's kind of a homeboy to the Sadlers.
He is. Neighboring Danville, Virginia. Raced a lot at South Boston Speedway. Back in South Boston. He also had an accident in practice yesterday. Went to a backup car, but looks like he's got a good lap going too, Jeff.
He needs to be smooth with it right now. He's plenty quick right now down the back straightaway, getting his field. He just get through 3 and 4 back to the start-finish line. It'd be a great recovery by him, but right here's where he got in trouble yesterday. Uses up some racetrack, but it is quick enough to get him in. Where's the crew chief, Hermie?
Yep. Back her down. He's locked in.
He did a good job there, too. That car was really wicked.
20th right now. You're in the field.
A little late.
That's a little late.
A little late. Got up into the wall a little bit.
Oh, I mean, come on, guys.
He finally backed it down right there.
Jeff, I talked to the fans at home about the process by which a crew chief knows that the driver's locked in. What are they looking at? What
they're looking at is the same thing we're looking at. It's the qualifying monitor that NASCAR provides. It's a feed to all the teams, and most of them have them right there in their garage area. And he comes up off a turn, he just barely brushes it. But we're watching that monitor. I mean, that's what we live and die by. So as soon as he crossed the start-finish line, his name popped up in green on our qualifying monitor, telling me he was in the field, where he was at, and all the crew chief had to do says, "You're in," right there, boom. Just as quick as they told Mark Green and Johnny Chapman, they knew almost immediately that they were in the field. Plus, Steve, you got a stopwatch of your own.
That's true. Well, thank you. I just wanted you to tell the folks how it works.
A lot of times we say that and you wonder why they don't react quicker. And I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I used to always surround myself when I've been in a situation where I had to make a race. You know, I surround myself with people that are either helping me with a backup watch or watching a monitor. So I've got my finger on that button to tell the driver what he needs to know.
Well, as we watch Ryan Newman here too, he locks himself in ninth. You've also got to be careful at a place like Dover, because when you send the driver out, you tell him you got to get in the show, lay it out there. But when he gets in the show, you got to be careful really where you talk to the driver at. Some guys can be easily distracted when you're in their ear when they're trying to concentrate on their lap. So you got to relay the information, but do it in a time that it doesn't.
Well, everything happens here so quick. As soon as you know it, you happen all of a sudden.
Good buddy, P6. Good job.
It could be the middle of 1 and 2 before you do it, but if they could have got to him just a hair quicker, he might have got that throttle to where he wouldn't have hit the wall coming up off of 2, because he was still digging. He was still trying and thinking, I got to get in this race.
Ryan Newman picks up to 6th, Jeff, and Joey Logano takes a deep breath. For the time being, his pole position is safe.
I think right now he can start to breathe a little easier, because I think he's dodged his 2 biggest bullets in Kevin Harvick as well as Ryan Newman, of guys who have shown speed during practice sessions that could come up there and get him. But it's never over till it's over.
Scott Wimmer won here at Dover back in September of 2002. 6 wins total for Wimmer in this series.
Yeah, these guys, Jeff, is a perfect example of you don't always have to have 50, 55 cars to have a competitive field. Even though there's 44 cars, there's 44 pretty good race cars lining up to try to get in this show.
Well, the way this thing's probably going to work out, which I think is very good, you're still going to have the 44 fastest cars out there. 43 fastest cars out there racing today, and Scott Wimmer just locks himself in completion to that 1 lap. He's 13th quickest. And again, you know, I know Scott's got a lot of experience, but why take a chance if you're not going to sit on the pole? That's the only I wrestle with every time I watch one of these sessions. Somebody will go out there and just keep their foot in it, and they don't need to.
So Wimmer 13th overall. When we come back, you'll see John West Townley, Terry Cook, and Curtis Davis. Logano's still the man to beat. Rain washed out the Camping World Truck Series race last night, but folks, it is just beautiful here in Dover, Delaware. You'll see it today. Chris Devoto will set you up at 5:30, and immediately following the start of the AAA Insurance 200 Camping World Truck Series only on Speed. NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying continues with John West Townley, a Georgia driver. Morgan Shepherd, Johnny Chapman, Peyton Sellers, Mark Green, Scott Wimmer, Ryan Newman, all locked in.
As is John West Townley.
That's good. As is John West Townley.
Good, bud. 20.
And there's veteran Brad Parrott telling him to shut it down.
And he was able to get to him right there about the middle of 1 and 2, and that way, you know, he didn't have to keep driving it hard up off of that treacherous corner out there, because I guarantee you, when you think you got to pick up speed, you mash that motor in the middle of 1 and 2, it can get you in trouble on the exit. That's Brad.
Good call by Brad.
Okay, go back to your garage stall. Go back to your
Bring that
garage.
car back in one piece. And you know what?
Good job, man.
Quite honestly,
That's
John
P20.
West Townley has had trouble in qualifying, bringing the car home in one piece. So Brad Parent said, you're in, let's go back to the garage.
A big turnaround from Lowe's Motor Speedway when those guys were a little bit frustrated with him when the car got away from him. He wasn't able to keep it out of the wall. So good comeback to lock himself in with a pretty solid run.
Well, Terry Cook is a teammate to Johnny Chapman. Chapman is 23rd overall. Let's see what Cook can do. He starts 6th in the truck race later today.
And again, Steve, when you take a look at those guys like Peyton Sellers, Johnny Chapman, John West Townley, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, all of them separated by 1/100th of a second.
Terry's got a really good lap going, and he'll lock himself in pretty easy, Steve.
He's done a nice job qualifying his 91 car.
Nice job. 14th overall, just behind Scott Wimmer and ahead of Mike Bliss. Kevin LePage still the driver on the bubble, on the hot seat, we should say.
Real loose.
That's not the first time we've heard that today.
No, it's not.
But all the elements line up perfectly for loose race cars. I mean, no rubber on the racetrack, and these guys qualifying, you know, with basically race setups in most of these race cars, so you're going to get a lot of that.
Curtis Davis in the 49 car from the upstate of South Carolina in Gaffney. 9 Dover starts. And a veteran crew chief, Gary Cogswell, calling the shots for this team.
Again, guys, with only 4 cars to go. You have 5 cars. You want to count Curtis remaining. Kevin LePage's, the difference between him and Morgan Shepherd, that 1/100th of a second is starting to loom even more prominent, that he may or may not make this field because of that.
Looks like Curtis is not going to get it done on lap 1, Jeff. He's going to have to
got to
stay
play
in the
2.
throttle and go for lap number 2, yeah.
Yep. And he's about to pick up about a little over 2.5 tenths if he wants to get in this show. It looks like, again, 24 flat is the magic number, and that first lap was a 24.25. It's not happening.
Doesn't have the speed.
Nope.
Really doesn't.
So Kevin LePage is now locked in. He can breathe easy. Coming up, Paul Menard, Casey Atwood, Dennis Setzer, and Jeffrey Earnhardt out dead last.
Hey, Paul Menard's been really impressive qualifying in this nationwide car. They got a good program put together, and I watched him some in practice. His car is a pretty good little race car. If he gets at least a qualifying run, he'll be in contention today.
Well, if it feels good coming to take the green flag here, he could be a guy that could upset Joey Logano in that 20 car. He is probably like the last car that I feel like has got a legitimate shot of unseating Joey.
Logano looking for his first pole position of 2009. He started twice on 2 occasions. Tracker looks like he's inside the top 10. And that's exactly what he is on his first lap, 10th.
Car was like it's bouncing, just like when you watch it go down the corner right there, Steve, bouncing like Mark Martin said his car was doing.
Paul Menard makes his 7th nationwide series start later today. We'll step aside for just a minute. When we come back, the final 3 drivers, Casey Atwood, Dennis Setzer, and Jeffrey Earnhardt. Speed's presentation of NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying from Dover is brought to you by Toyota. For the latest Toyota racing information, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward. And by the new Kentucky Grilled Chicken. Taste the unfried of KFC. Casey Atwood aboard the 05 car.
Hermie, what is worse as far as the driver's concerned?
You're in. That's good right there.
Going out early and having the pressure knowing you got to do it, or waiting later and knowing what you got to do when you go?
I'd rather go early and get my lap done personally, but you know, especially when you qualify or starting early in the morning like today, you know, if you wait until the end, you got a little bit more heat in the racetrack. And sometimes when you feel kind of like playing golf, you know, when you got a little bit extra pressure on you, you know, you either sometimes you overdrive or maybe make a mistake. I'd rather go ahead and get my lap in, a good solid lap, and let them shoot for it.
Now in golf, whenever you got that pressure and you don't stand up to it, you say you choke.
Choke.
Does that work? Here racing, does that work too?
There is a choke factor in NASCAR.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Casey Atwood, a former winner here at Dover, as we see the veteran Dennis Setzer in the 96 car. He and Jeffrey Earnhardt, the final two drivers to qualify. Curtis Davis on the hot seat.
And we were talking a moment ago about the choke factor. You got to believe it, a guy like Dennis Setzer, he's been in this position time after time after time in all forms of racing. So it's like he could probably lay down a pretty good mental lap and go out and repeat it. He does it very solidly, puts himself 24th.
Shut her down. You are in.
He joins Sellers, Chapman, and Townley. All those guys again, 72, 73, 74, and 75 as far as time.
Jeff Hermie, we now have 32 drivers who have run a 23-second lap.
Yeah, I mean, there's 44 cars here, but this is a very tight qualifying session. Jeffrey Earnhardt, all down to him, trying to make his debut here at Dover. A lot of pressure on this young man, Jeff.
It is, again, and you know, I just hope he's going to be able to come through, because he had a really good race car in practice, and just like I say, made one little minor mistake right there, and it cost him. We'll see what he does.
So we'll find out if Jeffrey Earnhardt makes the show, if Curtis Davis goes home, and if Joey Logano can pick up the pole position.
And Steve, it all comes down to he needs to run a 24.256 to beat Curtis Davis and lock himself in the field.
He did not come through 3 and 4 and get up to speed very good. I know he's feeling the car, which he should do.
Right.
But he's basically banking on lap 2, Steve, as far as getting his car up to speed.
And again, it may be the smartest thing he can do.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right now is when he needs to make a run at it now. If he's going to get in his field, he's going to have to do it now.
Pick it up.
There he goes.
Yep, his first lap the slowest. All the pressure on Jeffrey Earnhardt, just 19 years old, out of Mooresville, North Carolina.
They're dead even basically going into turn 3 right there. The car wiggles just a little bit. Can he get back to the throttle here now? This is going to be it. Think he's going to pull it off. No.
Don't think that's going to do it.
And it will not. Curtis Davis is in, and unfortunately Jeffrey Earnhardt is not.
That's too bad.
It is.
So Joey Logano scores his first pole of the season, and Dick Berggren is with him.
And Steve, it was just a few short years ago when here at Dover, Mark Martin announced that he was going to scale back Sprint Cup racing and run a partial schedule. And in the media center, I asked him, who would you put in the car? And Mark said, Joey Logano. And the media looked at each other and said, who's Joey Logano? They know now about this deal. Pole at Dover.
This is cool. It's the first time I ever won anything here. I ran the Camp World East Series races, and I never won a thing. So I'm pretty excited. I got a really good GameStop Toyota, and I'm just looking forward to getting racing this thing. This is cool to get a pole for these guys. They work real hard. I've been, I got one of the hardest working teams in the Nationwide Garage and in the Cup Garage. I got some really hard working guys, and it's cool to get them a pole and hopefully get them a win today.
Okay, thank you. Good luck in your race today and tomorrow. He will also be racing NASCAR on Fox tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Dick. So Joey Logano becomes the youngest pole winner in 51 Dover races, 19 years old. Stay with us. Back at the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware, Joey Logano picks up his 4th career pole in just his 30th NASCAR Nationwide Series start. As we take a look at the starting grid for this afternoon's race. The guys we talked about at the beginning of this broadcast, History shows us you want to be in that top 10, and there's some big names up there.
Yes, there is. Again, we see Kyle Busch, Scott Speed, again, a surprise winner from here a year ago, driving for Michael Waltrip Racing. But how about Carl Edwards and Brian Vickers back on row 4? I've been watching them too.
Brendan Gaughan, Paul Menard, row 5. Brad Keselowski and Greg Biffle, row 6. Eric McClure, a good run for him, Jeff, in 18.
Well, Clint Boyer back there out there also on row 9 right there. You know, he's had a lot of wins as far as concrete racetracks. Don't rule that guy out.
19-year-old Mark Davis making his first start for Braun Racing in row 11 with Justin Allgaier from Penske. Now, guys, as we look further through the field, my question now to you guys as a driver and a crew chief, what's the rest of the day like until this race starts about 2:30?
Well, you can't do a whole lot to the race car itself as far as NASCAR is concerned, but what my concern would be is what tire. The car's a little tight. Are you going to wear that right front out while we're laying rubber down, or are we going to see cords on the right rear like we saw yesterday during practice?
And Hermie, how many of these young drivers will be watching 2 Cup practices coming up?
Well, these guys, you know, that's how a big reason how you learn, especially lines around this racetrack. Of course, they got the drivers meeting to attend, but these guys will be taking in these Sprint Cup guys, watching every lap on the racetrack, and hopefully watching some rubber get laid on this track so we can make for a much better race this afternoon for the Nationwide guys.
Well, unfortunately, Jeffrey Earnhardt, the only driver not to make the field, as Joey Logano heads over to his Cup car. And coming up next, stay with us, Cup practice from the Dover International Speedway. We'll have 2 practices for you. See Jeff Gordon's team
with a backup car on Steve. Let's not forget, he crashed in practice right there. So I'm sure that Steve Letarte and that team right there, they're eager to get on the racetrack and see what they have. And hey, can the 00 of David Rudiman keep it up?
For Hermie Sadler, Jeff Hammond, Chris Devoda, and Dr. Dick Berger, I'm Steve Burns. Thanks for being with us. Stay tuned for Sprint Cup practice.